Getting into the state of the wish fulfilled. That's the secret. That's whenever you have suspended disbelief and you got into a unified field experience, mind and body. When we can stay in that place of mind and body, that's when we're creating in the field. We will be creating the circumstances, situations. Why? Because we're in the state of a new vibration. When you are controlling your emotions, controlling your body, and at the same time you're in one state with one vision, you are attracting everything that you want in those moments because you're fulfilling it. We're going over decisions this month and how to apply decisions. And not just a decision about a goal, but I want to go deeper into it today, but a decision on controlling the flow. Why do you think it would be so important to decide on controlling the flow? Why would a decision need to be on controlling the way you think?
You would want a pure, smooth transition.
They can't hear you. That's why.
Can you say that again?
A pure, smooth transition towards your vision.
Good.
It's really controlling the process of thoughts, what thoughts you're processing, and rearrangement of those thoughts, how you rearrange them, and when you say process, what you let go through, and what you know that doesn't serve you, so you touch it lightly, and is a state that you decide and choose.
State that you decided to and you have chosen to stay in.
Mm-hmm.
And recognizing whenever you're off track, recognizing the self, recognizing the old self and the new self, the controlled self and the uncontrolled self, and bringing them together to a focal point of experience. And that focal point of experience is not something in the future, it's right now. Yes, it's something that you see in the future, but you've got to bring your mind and body in a unified field experience right now of that wish that you're desiring and stay there. Mm-hmm. Get your ideas from there. If you're off track, pull yourself back. Make a decision that you're going to begin to control the flow without energy.
That's why it's important when we're talking about today, best of today will mean your thoughts and feel increase tomorrow. That's exactly right, because people say, how is that creating tomorrow? Because what we think right now and how we feel is what's creating the future. And when we're in control of that state, and we stay in that state, and we see ourselves in that state, even though the circumstance might not be right, even though we might be in a different situation, even we might be in the middle of something, but regardless, when you start seeing yourself, earlier you mentioned, you start seeing yourself in that state, that's what's creating the future.
You're in those moments, you're unifying a field.
Yeah. Two things really very important is that we're limited is poverty of imagination, lack of attention. Poverty of imagination is poverty of not being able to see yourself and imagine. And lack of attention is in your imagination, creating the attention, staying there and creating what you want. And according to what you want and what you create, you start going doing. And that state of creation is what's guiding you in your physic to go do certain things and create this chain of events to become and to see what you're imagining in reality. But we're talking about unseen world. We're talking about non-physical world. That's why we can't see it with our senses. And what we need to do is we start seeing it with in our mind.
Your mind's eye.
Yeah.
And get into that state of the feeling that's already present. And when we can stay there, the longer we can stay there, keep returning, going back home. This is your new home. This must be where you rest in your assumption. When you keep going home, you're resting in that state. But this is also the field of creation. Let's look at the experiences of different people throughout the world. Everybody's experiencing their ideas and whatever they're emotionally involved with, because that was the decision, that's what they're going to experience. They decide to look for the bad, or they decide to look for the negative. They decide to look for what they don't want. They're always going to find it. And they're always going to find the bad. They're always going to be emotionally involved with the bad, and they're always going to experience the bad. And in their righteous way, they will look for all of it to remind them of the bad. Is it an accident that they experience the bad?
No, that's what they're looking for. And that's what they see. So to prove that they're right, they have to experience it
Over and over again.
over and over again. And that experience becomes their way of thinking, and that way of thinking create more of that experience unless they break that chain of thinking.
Of being themselves.
Yeah. And start thinking a positive mental attitude toward anything that they see. Even things that in appearance are negative or bad. How we interpret that and how we change it toward we see positive out of it is the key. I always do that, and I learned that. I heard that from Bob in one of his conferences. He says, everything that you see, the law of polarity, everything that you see is there's bad and good. If it's bad, it's good. So always see the circumstance that it tries to irritate me, talking about that, and even little things. For instance, yesterday I was waiting to put diesel in my truck, and this guy left his truck, and there's fuel pump. This guy left his truck for like 20 minutes, and he never came back. And I'm almost out of diesel. But what I did, I was like, this is something good. Maybe I need to stay 20 minutes. Maybe there's something ahead of me. I need to stop here. I interpret that in a really good situation that I didn't feel irritated anymore. And I was like, how do that's every situation in life, really, what you take out of it and how you interpret it to your advantage to keep your vibration high, a control state, and go back to what you want to see.
You're not wiring and firing same old possibilities again. And the better we can control that flow, the better ideas we'll have, the more in tune we'll be with what we want to see. And it's really about making a decision that this is something that you're going to work and practice. If you don't make the decision that you're going to work on this and you're going to practice this new way of being, you stay the same. Why? If you don't want to master the mind, if you don't want to master your reality, there's always another way.
There is always
another way.
Yeah, there's always another way.
And you still will receive those states of being, because if you're not willing to make the decision and do the work's already done for you. It means your seeds of achievement has already been born, and it's working for you. Life doesn't happen to you, it's happening for you. Now you can either control and shift with your own will and your own desire and control the flow and build upon what you have, or you can stay where you're at. You can continue to do what you're doing. You can live that fulfilled life. Life gave us an opportunity to experience. And the greatest thing about life is it was up to you.
Yeah. When you truly understand it, because one thing is hearing this, it's up to you. One thing is understanding it's up to you. And that understanding requires a lot of faith and a lot of repetition
of understanding.
Understanding of this information. And when you're talking about life, it's just, it's a lot of, we were talking about this, is a lot of experiences that when you look at circumstance or something happened, we talk about it, hey, touch it lightly, because you need to stay focused on your vision and what you want to see, but always say, what is it that I'm supposed to learn from this? I always ask myself, something happens that it's not in my favor or is not something that I want to see. I intend to start thinking about, what am I learning from this? What are the laws? What am I reading? What does the book says? Always going back to the information, because this is literally us and we're studying ourselves. And I look at it, and for instance, I just got my car fixed. After 6 months, I got the Ferrari fixed. It took 6 months to fix it, and I brought it back. We went out to a restaurant, and I parked it, and somebody came and hit the car in the back same night. And I look at it, I was like, okay, this is not going to make me mad. I came to work and showed Abraham. He goes, oh, this is not a big major thing. You can call Manny and they can buff it. It's not a bad. But I didn't let that get to me, ruin my day. I was like, it's just a car. I hope it doesn't go away another 6 months. And it didn't. So it's all about how you see it and how you interpret things, and not letting petty things, really, anything really, get to us. Because if we're letting it, if it's happening to us, if you see energy comes on, you're angry or you're about to react or you're upset, you allow that to happen. A lot of people say, oh, I'm upset or I'm angry and I'm about to explode or I'm about to lose it. That means they let the outside affecting the inside. And when you understand the inside is creating a reality, it's rearranging a reality, it's making it the next move and next decision, why would you allow your power, give your power away to outside that you have no control over? That's the understanding.
That's understanding.
Yeah.
And again, it's practice.
Mm-hmm. A lot of practice.
But then we've been practicing all this time.
Yeah.
And we've been truly practicing how not to get this right.
I think it's very important. Your environment is very important. I'm very fortunate that I spent a lot of time with him, and constant reminder, it helps a lot. It's auto-suggestion. And we learn through repetition. Mm-hmm.
Learn to catch it, when to catch it.
Yeah.
Because we're going through our day, we're going through our circumstances, and that day and that circumstance is already filled with old habits and old behaviors. Even you're going into a new direction. Let's say you're going towards a goal, you're going towards a vision, then you're going to be consistently bombarded with the known prior circumstances. Mm-hmm. So it's very important to learn how to control the flow. Being aware.
Hey.
Where life is showing us two possibilities, always. The one to be dealt with, or the one to step into. Don't choose the world that you have to deal with. You don't have to deal with anything. Everything's a passing, always. Nothing ever stays. Let everything go that doesn't serve you. Stick to your vision. life is a passing phase. When we recognize ourselves as the center of it, then we begin to understand that life could not fill space if it wasn't for me. When we really truly understand this, life could not fill space without me. Therefore, if I want to see space and form to my liking, I've got to change me. Decision. Make a decision to stay in the field with the experiences that you solely choose. Not from beliefs, not from prior settings, but from and within your own will. What do you truly want? How about making a decision that everything that you want will be yours? How do we do that?
By claiming it. You got to claim it. You got to have the courage to, actually, I was reading, the value of decision depends on your courage required to render them.
Yeah.
And you know how when we want something, I've seen, and I've been really paying attention to this, when we're talking about things or something, when I see people and they're talking, they're always talking something that they look objective as something outside of them. I was listening to Bob Proctor. He had an interview, I think in the 70s. He says, most of people go to these seminars to become successful. They're always going out to look something outside of themselves. They don't know that those seminars are good, but it's what you learn and how you apply it. You are already successful, and it's just waiting for you to make a decision.
Yeah. And the decision was somehow to be on purpose. Mm-hmm. Of what?
What is it that you want?
Well, what do you want?
Yeah. And it's when you really, what is it that you want and you claim it? I think I was talking to Angel. We were talking about vehicles, cars, and all that. And I said, I always thought, even I didn't have a whole lot. I always thought, I think I have it. I can get that. I just need to do certain things. I can have that car. I can have that house. And I was always seeing myself successful, even though my circumstances were not showing that. I think it's very important, whatever you claim, regardless of what other people say, whatever you claim, and make it a part of your subconscious inventory, you got to see it. And the subconscious inventory is what you start seeing in your life. Like every one of us, if you look at our life, what we live in, the arrangement of everything in our life, everything, from our clothes, from our friends, from our furniture in the house, for the way our offices are, everything about us, it shows what's in your subconscious. Because you do not outperform your subconscious. You do not outperform your self-image. Therefore, if you want to know where you're at, just look around. I never forget, I was talking to Abraham, and he told me that I was wanting to change things, and I think I was talking about losing weight. I said, "Hey, I'm on diet," or I said, "I'm decided to lose weight. I'm not going to eat." And he says, "Oh, don't say that. Change your self-image. Say, this is my new self-image, and this is what I want." And I was like, "Yeah," because when I said I'm on diet, that's still temporary because you can get a diet and go back. But when you say change your self-image about I'm healthy and I have this new self-image of what is it that I want, that point I add that idea inventory to my subconscious mind. And therefore, the way I'm going to eat, the way I'm going to move, the way I'm going to go to the gym is going to align with that self-image, that idea in the subconscious mind to prove itself in my reality. So it's amazing how one idea, one self-image is going to manage not only your behavior, decisions, and it is amazing because when I see after that, when I thought to put a lot of thought into it, when I see food or things or soft drinks, I wasn't that drawn to really eat. I was like, oh no, and immediately that self-image of me, of the body that I want, came in my mind, and I was like, no, that's not gonna take you there. And it was with effortless way. Mm-hmm. And there was no resistance, there was no fight, I was not tempted. And I decided I'm gonna lose. And I lost about 20 pounds without any problem because of that idea. When I said that's my self-image, at that point, I claim it. Not only that, I accept it. Yeah, and consent what I'm going to see instead of fighting it, because and that's subjective way of looking at things instead of objective. Because when you look at objective, I'm going to get on diet, I'm going to do this, it's something outside of you in the future.
Right.
But when you become one with it, change that idea on anything. Mm-hmm. Therefore, that's what you got to do.
Yeah, you're in harmony.